So we have our lineup including Lauren Atiye, Partner Manager of LinkedIn Marketing Solutions, Barbara Kaliki, Associate Director of Publicis Sapient, and Josh Wolf, Senior Director of Solutions Consulting. Please give them a warm welcome as they take the stage.
Today we're going to talk about using first-party data and B2B strategies and emphasizing conversions APIs. I know we've had a bunch of different conversations about that, and something that's near and dear to me. I work with a lot of our technology partners, a lot of our services partners, like LinkedIn, like Sapient, and the conversions APIs they're a really hot topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of them a question. We'll get their answer, maybe get some input from the other. We're going to go back and forth, and we're going to learn some more about B2B marketing. So I'm going to start off with a question for Barbara. And the question is, what are the differences between first-party data versus third? And what are the advantages of first-party data?
Okay, so first-party data is your data. You own the data. And third-party data is something you get from another vendor, like LinkedIn. And LinkedIn and all the other advertisers, what they do is they put a cookie on your browser, right, to track you and see that you actually, when you clicked on the ad, you went to the site, and that's how they get all of their, measurements and their, the data that they're collecting. They pull the data, right, from that cookie. But cookies, they were never supposed to be a permanent solution. They were a Band-Aid fix for advertisers to get some information on the people that were clicking on their ads so they can sell you more advertising. So with first-party data, it's your data, you own it, and with CAPI what happens is because it's first-party data you're collecting, you choose what to send and when to send it to the advertiser. So instead of them pulling the data to their platform, you're pushing the data to them. So you have more control. It's also more privacy compliant because on your website, hopefully you're collecting consent, right? I know a couple companies that actually don't have consent banners on their sites, but we're talking to them. And that way, when you're collecting the consent, now you know it's privacy compliant, so you don't have to worry about any of the regulations like GDPR and CCPA, because it's your data, you own it, and you send it to them. Yeah.
Thanks. And I think also owning your own data allows you to really understand your customers at a deeper level, and to also do things beyond just digital advertising, right? It allows you to interact with them in other channels too. So there's a lot of value to that. Next question is for Lauren, and the question is, how can CAPI help B2B buyers?
Yeah, so the B2B buying journey can be quite complex and extensive. On average, we see the B2B buying sales cycle to be around 6 months. But when I was in the session yesterday with MD Anderson, they said that it took them 2 years to sell Intelium to their organization. So it can be a very long process, and there's a couple reasons for that. So there's a large buying group at companies that are involved in making a B2B decision. So you have teams like marketing, sales, ops, FP&A, legal, and they all have multiple stakeholders that have non-negotiables that they're bringing to the table that they need to discuss. So even to get these groups to just align internally and meet and discuss a big decision that is going to be long-term and strategic for the business, it takes a lot of time. And so when you have a buying group that big, it's constantly evolving. So you have people who leave the company, people who get promoted, people who change teams. And so for advertisers in the B2B space, they have to be broadcasting brand ad campaigns as well as lower funnel campaigns to be able to reach that halo of decision makers that are constantly coming in and out of the buying group. And so it's also, data is very disparate at companies. So once it's siloed, it's very difficult to be able to try to prove out why you need to make this mission critical decision for your business. So this is really why CAPI should be at the crux of your advertising strategy. If you're able to send that rich first-party data that you own securely via CAPI, LinkedIn and other platforms, we're able to take those signals and really be able to hone in on that audience that we know is taking action on your content and be able to help lower your CPA by using those learnings within our algorithm to show this group of prospects the content and messaging that we know is really working and driving them down the funnel.
Excellent. That was great. Thank you. And before I was on the partner side, I was working directly with customers. I can attest to the fact that sometimes it does take, many, many years to work. And especially a tool like Telium that touches different areas within the company, you really have to bring groups together and get them all in the same room, which can be a challenge.
And that's another benefit of CAPI, right? It helps to break down those data silos because now you have to connect with not just marketing, but your IT team, right? They hold all of the keys to all of the software platforms. So now we're having marketing and IT and the C-suite in the same room talking about your first-party data strategy.
Perfect, yeah. Next question's for Barbara. And before we forget, there's a QR code on the screen over here. And you can scan that code for Sapient to offer you a data strategy assessment, if that's something you're interested in. So feel free to pick up your phone and scan the code. Questions for Barbara. It is, what prompted publishers to offer and advertisers to rapidly adopt conversion APIs over the last few years?
Okay, yeah. So first on the data strategy, it's a self-assessment. It's a quiz. It'll take like 10 minutes, and it'll give you a summary of where your company is at in your data strategy journey. And then if you want to, at the end, you can put your email address in, and we'll have somebody contact you and have a little workshop talk about your results and where you are and where you want to go. But the reason why advertisers are pushing for this is because of all of those wonderful regulations that are out there now, GDPR and CCPA. There's so many different laws that are coming into place, and especially with the depreciation of the cookies, like the cookies crumbling, everybody knows it, it's going to happen, now is the time, even though like Google changed their mind and said, wait, we're not really gonna take away the cookies, we're gonna allow the user to decide if they want cookies or not, right? But the time is now to start thinking about your first-party data strategy and start implementing things like CAPI, which will get you on the way to not having to worry about those regulations, right? Because you're already collecting consent. And then also CAPI is a server-to-server solution. So you're not placing a third-party cookie on your site. What happens is with CAPI, you have somebody that lands on your site from an ad, and then you're collecting it on your server, your own internal server, and then again, you're sending the data you want to send to the advertising platform. So you already have the data. And this also helps with things like, identity resolution, like in Telium Audience Stream, and things of that nature, where you're able to start enriching your profiles of your customer. And then you get to know, as Josh had said, you get to know your customer better as well.
Awesome, thank you. I think the other part that I've seen too is just straight results. The campaign performance improves noticeably when you implement CAPI, and that's leading to the adoption too. So it's always good when you can do something for privacy purposes and have those sort of motivations, those good motivations, but it also has big impact on your marketing KPIs.
And that what was the stat that somebody shared the other day? It was like 138% increase. We do see that, and it's hard to tell people that sometimes because they don't believe it. They're like, what do you mean? But it really does matter, and it does help improve those connecting the pipes and connecting the signals for your advertising.
Yep, awesome. Next question is for Lauren, and the question is, what results have you seen from advertisers that adopt CAPI to supplement ad campaigns on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so we've seen great results when our customers adopt CAPI. On average, we see a decrease of about 20% CPA and a lift in 30% of attributed conversions once CAPI is implemented. So these are great figures to bring back to stakeholders at the company, but there's other things that also come into play when we see a customer utilize CAPI. So One, your lead quality is just improved greatly across the board. Also, you're able to really demonstrate marketing's impact on the sales pipeline. So this orchestration and knowledge that you're able to share between these organizations and teams at your organization can really help, bridge that gap and bring more transparency and more collaboration to these efforts that can sometimes work against each other. So that's definitely been key. We also see that being able to measure attribution for, which ad unit, which messaging, which type of content is really performing for your target audience is great to be able to feed into your advertising strategy and make sure that you're reaching the right people with the right messaging where they are in their buying journey. And also just being able to prove out the effect that LinkedIn has on overall ROAS is very empowering for our customers. To be able to go to stakeholders at the company that own budget with these hard numbers of campaign improvements and results and money you're no longer leaving on the table will really allow you to make sure that your media mix and your channel strategy is aligned to the channels that are performing best and are driving the results that you need to make your business more successful and perform better and get more customers into the mix.
Thank you. I'd also say especially on the business, the B2B side, to keep in mind that there are offline conversions or conversions that are not happening on your website in particular, right? That CRM system where you might have people talking to people is a place where a lot of conversions happen, and you want to keep that in mind and try and get those shared with LinkedIn and your other publishers, because those are some key conversions, and being able to change or modify an ad campaign digitally based on something that happened offline, that can be really impactful and have really powerful results. Next question is for Barbara. The question is, what sort of challenges have you seen advertisers encounter when implementing CAPI?
So the challenge is because you're collecting PII, right, and you have to make sure that you have your data quality, your data strategy, and your data collection in order, right? So your data quality, make sure that you're collecting the right parameters, because when you're trying to connect those pipes and those signals, and as Josh has just mentioned about the online and offline conversions, connecting those together, you have to make sure that you're collecting and the quality of your data is accurate. And then also when you're collecting the data, that you're collecting the right variables at the right time. This is what helps to strengthen those signals, and it's very important because the signals in the advertising platform, they only use matched events to inform upon the algorithms and the delivery optimization. So if you're not matching events, you're losing out on getting that data into the platform and increasing, improving your ROAS and all those other metrics. And then your strategy. You always want to make sure that you have a data strategy in place. If you don't have a strategy that's aligned to your business goals, where you're creating some KPIs around it, how are you supposed to show this 138% increase, right? So ensuring all of those things are in order is really helpful, especially implementing CAPI. And this also helps you stand up your first-party data strategy. Like, this is a really good way of starting to, think about first-party data, centering around the customer, and ensuring that all the pipes are connected in the advertising platforms so that you get those really good match qualities, event match quality, sorry.
Yeah. And we oftentimes see implementation as actually a blocker to getting CAPI stood up. So it takes a lot of resources, and sometimes the businesses that we're working with just don't have the bandwidth to really make that implementation happen. So we actually have a program live right now with Telium where we are covering the cost of CAPI implementation for eligible customers, and we've already been able to get some customers live, including AT&T, Charter Communications, Edward Life Sciences, and we really want to be able to remove that friction when it comes to setting up CAPI, because we know that when it does get set up, it will really outweigh those resources and time spent trying to make that happen. So I'll be at the Beast Bar later if you want to come chat about the program and see if you're eligible for this program we have live right now. We know that Telium does an amazing job of their white glove service when it comes to implementation. So we were really excited to get this program live and active for our mutual customers.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. And if you can't make it to the Beast Bar, reach out to your Telium representative, your customer success manager, your account exec. We're happy to talk about this with you. Awesome. Next question's for Lauren, and the question is, can you describe some of the differences between B2B and B2C strategies and sales cycles?
Yeah, so it's actually a very interesting time to be at LinkedIn because we are seeing an increase in B2C advertisers on our platform. Advertisers understand that they want to be reaching their customer where they're spending the most time. At LinkedIn, we have over 1 billion members globally, and we're seeing time spent and engagement on the platform increase year over year, quarter over quarter. So advertisers don't want to miss out on that. And we're also seeing this new generation of content creators on LinkedIn talk about more than just work, right? They're talking about lifestyle, they're talking about wellness, and it's really resonating with our audiences. So when you think about your B2B versus B2C strategy, you're reaching the same person essentially, but you need to make sure that your messaging is tailored to what they're in the mindset on for LinkedIn. And so when it comes to B2B decision making, it is a longer process. It's very analytical. It's quite logical. You have to reach multiple members at an organization to be able to make that decision. So your content really needs to reflect that, dependent on where they are in their journey. For B2C, it's different, right? It's normally one individual or at most a household that are making these decisions. And it's typically based on emotion or need or impulse, guilty as charged from time to time. So it's really about being able to make sure you're meeting that person where they are in their journey with messaging that will resonate with them. And so while there are these key differences, it's also important to realize, the person at the end of the ad is an actual person. It's not a bot just yet. So you need to make sure that your brand has a voice, right? So don't be afraid to inject a little bit of humility or humor in your voice to be able to try to get the member on LinkedIn to move further down the funnel from a B2B or B2C perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to admit, I did not realize that the B2C advertisers were so prominent on LinkedIn until, our partnership, and it makes sense to me, right? I've been in media for on and off for a long time, and it's absolutely a great platform to advertise on.
One of our mutual customers is Prada, and they actively use our CAPI integration, and so it's really just been a change overall of seeing luxury brands and auto and other types of verticals really get more active on the platform.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I'll add, I read in an article recently that LinkedIn is cool now, so FYI.
Yep.
Awesome. Next question for Barbara, and then I think we have one more after that. This question is, what advice do you have what advice do you have this doesn't make sense. I'm going to skip to the next question.
Fine.
Sorry about that.
I probably already answered it anyway.
So this is the last question, and I think we have just enough time for both of you to give an answer. So I guess I'll ask Barbara first, and then Lauren. What are some of the different B2B use cases that you see for marketers?
Oh, yeah. So in CAPI in general, right, helps with your advertising. It also helps with your omni-channel marketing strategy, because now you're connecting your offline. You can connect your offline, your online, your POS system. I think Josh mentioned the CRMs. So all of that data is coming in to the server that you have. You're sending it to the platforms. They're sending it back to you. You can connect it in LinkedIn. In the LinkedIn CAPI, you can connect to Audience Stream. And when you're using Telium's Audience Stream, set up an audience, and then that way you're also optimizing your customer journey, because now when somebody is, seeing an email or clicking on a LinkedIn ad, and they go in your site, and because of the long sales cycle, right, they may not come back for a couple of months. Maybe they'll even forget about it. But what you can do now that you have, if you have a connection in audience stream and you have this audience created, you can create a connector, right? And this connector can go to like SendGrid or MailChimp. And so instead of sending them an email, you can send them an SMS, or you can market to them on another channel. So now you have full capacity to use the data as you see fit to market to the customer in the right place at the right time, which is what everybody needs to start doing. Another good use case for a CAPI is, we're talking about AI. Everybody's talking about AI, right? It's the new SEO. I've been telling people that all day. AI is the new SEO. So like, the CEOs and the C-suite would be like, oh, SEO, we got to improve our SEO. And now it's AI, how are we going to do this AI thing? Well, if you have a first-party data strategy, that's getting you closer to being able to stand up your AI, integrations or whatever things you're going to use. Like, they were talking about chatbots the other day, right? Customer service chatbots. You have the data, you know who this person is, you know who this customer is, and you know where they are in the world, and maybe you even know what they've purchased because you've already connected all those pipes.
And so from a LinkedIn perspective, we understand that B2B advertisers have to have multiple touch points with their prospects, right? They are focusing on awareness, they're focusing on consideration, they're trying to drive deeper engagements between their team and the end consumer. And so they understand that having CAPI will allow us to bring in these signals that are coming, not only from clicks out from LinkedIn to your website, but also when they attend a webinar. So when that is, logged into a customer CRM, that can be ported back to LinkedIn. When a customer has a call with a sales rep and their status is changed to an SQL in the CRM system, we're able to take on that signal. And so when we receive all of these throughout the lifetime of a user trying to be driven down the funnel, when that's sent back to LinkedIn, our algorithm is able to work that much harder in order to be able to reach that right person and build on audiences to bring in people like the potential buyers that you're currently reaching in order to be able to make your campaign smarter, perform better without having to have a whole strategy in place, a whole optimization team in place. We can really utilize that through our API connection for CAPI.
And then another good thing that I just thought about when you were talking about campaign performance, now you're able to unlock better measurement strategy, right? You can do more sophisticated statistical analysis. Those models that your data science team is building, it'll even help to inform them further, to help unify your data, again, breaking down silos, and then also assisting with your identity resolution, right? Increasing those signals in your identity resolution so that you have a better insight into your customer. And then you can do things like, market basket analysis or customer lifetime value, all those advanced things that you can't really do unless you have the data available to do it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, all those offline events, all those online events, they're really important for advertising attribution, but you can do so much more with them. Once you have that sort of nailed down, you have that collection process figured out, there's so much more value in them to do all those other things. Mm-hmm. So just keep thinking about that, and if you have any questions, we're happy to talk to you. I wanted to thank the guests today. I wanted to thank Lauren and Barbara for participating. I wanted to thank you all for your time. Our time is up, so we're done, and we will see you walking around the show for the rest of the day. Thanks so much.